In fairness, that wasn't my question. The question is, if he does bring back Parliament and the choice before you is to either bring down the government or to support workers, what do you do?
But we are operating under the clear indication by Mark Carney that there's going to be a snap election held early. He's going to call that mid-March, and we're preparing for that. Mark Carney said that giving a GST break to working people is a bad idea, but he thinks it's a good idea to flip-flop on the capital gains and give more money to millionaires. So I want to lay out what's happening in the next couple of days. This weekend, the GSA holiday will end. So you're going to end up paying more for the things that you need. So more for diapers, more for children's clothing, more for grab and go food at the groceries. I think that is wrong. I think it's wrong that you're going to have to pay more for things, particularly in the current context. We've got the threat of a trade war. We got tariffs from Donald Trump. People are worried that they might lose their job. They're worried that prices are going to go up at a time when they're already so high. But I think it's particularly wrong if you look at the choices this government's making. They're choosing to stop giving people a break, to stop giving you and your families a break, but they're choosing to flip-flop on capital gains to give millionaires a break. Those earning over $1 million, they want to give them a break. I think that is absolutely wrong. Mark Carney said that giving a GST break to working people is a bad idea, but he thinks it's a good idea to flip-flop on the capital gains and give more money to millionaires. Do what a new Democrat government would do, what we would do together, we would give you a break. I'm proposing that a new Democrat government would permanently remove the GST off of essentials. Essentials like your home heating bill, like your cellular and internet bills, giving you a break on the things that you need, like your grocery, grab and go groceries, diapers, children's clothing. Working folks, everyday people need a break, not millionaires. With New Democrats, we're going to give you a break. With Mark Carney and the Liberals, they want to give millionaires a break. I think that's wrong.
All right, so I want to ask about this memo that was going around to NDP candidates talking about the prospect of an election call as soon as March 10th. The NDP still needs about 200 candidates to have a full slate by that date if the election were called then. And we're seeing, polling pointing to, a potential trend of NDP supporters breaking off to the Liberals. How do you try to get people back on board, especially if an election is happening within 3 weeks here?
Yeah, our understanding is Mark Carney is going to call an early election. So we're preparing for that. We're getting ready for that. We've nominated 140 candidates already, more to come. And so we'll be ready to fight this election. This election is going to be an important choice. And so I want to remind folks, the Liberals have had 9 years. What has happened in those 9 years since the Liberals have been in power? Well, your cost of homes went up, cost of groceries went up. Things are worse now. Ask yourself, are you better now after 9 years of Liberals, or are you worse off? Canadians are going to say they're worse off. Changing the leader doesn't change the fact that they had 9 years to make your life better and they made it worse. And now what about the Conservatives? Well, Pierre Poilievre is proposing to do things that are going to make your life worse. He said that he wants to cut childcare. That's going to cost families at a minimum $8,000 a year if he cuts childcare. He wants to cut the child benefit. That's another $600 a month for working families, for everyday folks. He wants to cut the dental care program for seniors. Seniors who barely just got the dignity of getting their teeth fixed. Over 1.5 million people have been able to get their teeth fixed with the new Democrat dental plan. He wants to cut that. He doesn't think people deserve that. That's going to cost people. He wants to propose cuts that will hurt people, that will cost people. He's voted against these things, and he's going to put in place cuts that are going to hurt you. And what do we want to do? We want to defend those things that people need, invest in our healthcare, take better care of people, and lower your bills. Take on the corporate greed that's driving up the cost of your groceries. Bring down the cost of housing so people can afford a home. I think the choice is clear in this next election. The Democrats have your back.
So you've said over the last number of weeks that you're going to vote to bring down this government, force a spring election. But if you're given the choice when Parliament comes back between helping workers and bringing down the government, what will you do?
I appreciate the question. We've been really clear on this. The government has had 2 months. We could have called back Parliament weeks ago. We called on the government to recall Parliament to put in place supports for workers. Workers are already seeing job losses. And now we've got tariffs in place on steel and aluminum that are going to affect those workers. We've said from the beginning, we need a package of supports in place now. As soon as the threats were clear, we needed a package of support for the workers. I was on a call with all the leaders of opposition and the prime minister. I was the only leader to raise the point that we need this support package for workers. In addition, we need to realize that there's also going to be some pressures on the cost of living. So we need better protections in place to keep life affordable. We need those things passed in Parliament. There was 2 months to do that. If the Liberals were serious about doing it, they could have recalled Parliament. We could have got these things passed. But now it's become clear that Mark Carney is going to call a snap election. He's going to call an election before government resumes at the end of May, at the end of March. So we're preparing for that.
In fairness, that wasn't my question. The question is, if he does bring back Parliament and the choice before you is to either bring down the government or to support workers, what do you do?
Well, I think it's a false choice. That if the government is serious about doing that, they would bring the Parliament back now because workers are already losing their jobs. How would it make sense if this escalates and more job losses happen to wait another 30 days before Parliament's resumed and we see massive pain, workers losing their job? How does that make any sense? If the government's serious about putting in place supports for workers, I believe we should do that. I've called on that. Call back Parliament. Let's get it passed immediately. I can't imagine any opposition leader opposing a package to support workers if the government's serious about doing that. Bring Parliament back. Let's do that now. But we are operating under the clear indication by Mark Carney that there's going to be a snap election held early. He's going to call that mid-March, and we're preparing for that.